Coming to you from the depths of the galaxy, bringing you hot takes, hot news, and spicy discussions about games. We are the Uneducated Gamers! This episode is brought to you by GalaxyGameTV.com and Shipping Shield, creator of the cardboard top loader alternative, environmentally safe shipping card protection made in the USA. Go to shippingshieldus.com for more details.
What's up, gamers and moviegoers alike? We are the Uneducated Gamers. I'm Chris.
And I'm Michael.
And we're back for an episode hot off the press of opening weekend of the Super Mario Galaxy movie. And boy, oh boy, Mike, we got a spicy discussion here that we need to talk about this movie.
Is it spicy? Is this going to be a hot take episode?
I really think this got to be a hot take episode, and
really?
Primarily because I got a lot of them.
All right. Well, you lay them on me, buddy.
Well, to kind of set this up, right? First, Super Mario Galaxy, Super Mario Galaxy, right?
Yes.
Just released.
The Super Mario Galaxy movie, specifically. Not a new game.
Correct. We are recording this, just to timestamp this, on Tuesday, April 7th. Just a few days outside of the weekend, opening weekend. You saw the movie on Saturday. I saw it on Friday.
Yes.
And we both avoided each other via text to talk about this movie. Because we really wanted to put it on this episode.
Really want to zing a zing ah.
So, okay. First things first. Super Mario Galaxy just came out. And believe it or not, and I was like, when did the first one come out? And this dates back to only a few years ago. We talked about the Super Mario Brothers movie, the first one, which came out in 2023. And I have to say, like, that movie, and we talked about it a few times. We had a rewind episode recently of how much money that movie did, right? Like, it was doing pretty darn well. In fact, I think
pretty good.
Pretty good. And so good that, it was it topped the charts, right? I think overall, I can't remember where it landed, but I think it landed within the top 20 all time, right? Box office. Somewhere
Did
around
it
there.
that high?
I think it was somewhere around there. But that's not really important because that movie, I felt, did pretty well and was pretty good. Now, was it a bit of a nostalgia trip? Was it something that kind of was more of fanfare than anything else? Probably.
This whole franchise was never going to be anything except a Member Berries series, right?
Yes, but I think the first one actually was able to carry a story, right?
Yeah, I would agree.
Which a lot of people question whether, an animated Super Mario Brothers movie could carry a story. And I think in the first movie, they definitely proved that. And then I would say that it's not the best story in the world. It wasn't something that kind of was earth-shattering. It's Super Mario Brothers, right?
Right.
But it carried a story.
Yeah.
Fast forward 3 years later, and I'm going to open this up to being probably my first hottest take is Super Mario Galaxy the movie didn't even have a story. It essentially was a showreel, in my opinion, watching that movie. I mean, in the moment of watching the movie, was I entertained? Did I have moments that I was like, oh, and had a little bit of a giggle? Sure. But my oh my, after I like reflected and sitting at dinner with my family after seeing that movie, and again, to be clear, I have 2 younger kids, right? I have
Yeah.
a
Yep.
9-year-old and an 11-year-old. And unlike the first movie where there was a lot of talk at the table afterwards, we really didn't talk about the movie. We had our little entertainment piece, and then we went on our day. So, Mike, my hot take is Super Mario Galaxy was not really a movie. It was a showreel.
I'm a little relieved to hear you say that. I was worried that we were going to have completely opposite opinions of this movie. I was curious if you going to see it with your kids, as opposed to me just going with my wife, 2 adults, was going to have it be a different experience for you.
So I think going to it and again, we as a family we talk about things, like we go to we teach our children reflection, right? We
Yeah.
we teach them to, so what did you think of the movie? What are your favorite parts? What didn't you like? We try to kind of instill
Analyze and
reflection in
critique
them.
the media
Yeah.
you consume.
Yeah, and
Yep.
and really form your own opinion. And like the whole point of why we approach things and why we talk about things as a family like that is, we want them to learn the skill of critical thinking. Think through what you saw and come with your own opinion, not somebody else's opinion.
Yep.
And so the fact that we really didn't have any additional conversation after the movie made me reflect the next day even more. And I was like, wow, it was it entertaining? Sure, it had some entertaining moments, but boy, it wasn't really something that kind of put a stamp on me as like, that was a great movie.
I completely agree. It felt like a series of stitched together moments that were intended to be used as trailer material or promo material or even just to be clipped and shared online. There would be times where you'd have all the characters get together and do a little jump or whatever, and then they would stand there and hold a pose for like a solid second and a half as if
Okay.
you were supposed to like freeze frame it. It was doing some of the things that annoyed me about K-pop Demon Hunters, where
Mm,
you're watching a scene and you're like, oh, this is clearly meant to be a meme. Like you're expected to clip this for TikTok and remix it and share it on Reddit and whatever. That's not a movie.
yeah, yeah. And that's why I sort of started and wanted to lead with the first one, right? Because yes, did the first one do the job? Yes. Did the first one have a bit of a story to it? Sure. But boy, this couldn't even I think the second movie doesn't even, and keep in mind the first one wasn't earth-shattering, right? But the second movie I don't even think holds a candle to the first one.
And it doesn't have to be earth-shattering, right? Especially,
Right.
especially if your movie is intended to go to skew towards a younger audience. That doesn't give it license to be a bad movie, but it does mean that you maybe don't necessarily have to be as deep with your themes.
Yeah.
You don't have to have like a really explicitly plot. It doesn't have to be Lord of the Rings, right? It doesn't have to be Lord of the Rings. It can just be a good, fun adventure movie.
Yeah.
And I felt like the first one did that. The second one didn't. There was a whole bunch of characters in there that kind of had nothing to do and no reason of being on screen other than member berries.
Yeah, I mean, like I would say like Pikmin for whatever reason had like a 5-second glimpse of we're at a spaceport. Naturally, Pikmin will be there,
Why are we doing cameos in a movie that's already overstuffed with characters?
right? Uh the fact that Fox McCloud was in this
Ugh.
movie, and I knew ahead of time going into it, and I already had a bit of a stigma thinking about it. And I'm like, oh, why in the world is Fox McCloud in a Mario movie? I get it. He's in a galaxy, but seriously, why?
I could see it working if the movie would have been different. I mean, so the first one had Donkey Kong, which at the very least is related, right? Because Mario
Yeah,
and Donkey Kong have been in games together. Star Fox has not had Mario. Those two IPs have not crossed.
correct.
But it is a secondary character that is outside the normal IP that drove the plot forward, just like Donkey Kong would. There's a world in which that works, and they tried to characterize him like a Han Solo character, right? Like we meet him in the Mos Eisley spaceport, and he shows up and he's got the same exact beats as like Han Solo, where it's like, oh, who's this gruff guy? But actually he's pretty friendly underneath. Ooh, is there gonna be some romantic tension between the main character and then but then they're like, nah, just kidding, we're not doing that. They actually hinted at it and then threw it away on screen. Like there was
Yeah.
potential for that character, and they actively told the audience we ain't gonna do it.
And I'm glad they didn't, because I think the world should not cross in the first place. I was very much against the way that they even did it, right? Like they could have done the whole galaxy thing a little bit differently, right? With that said, um even so, like I didn't even see Fox McCloud's character in the character on the screen. Like in the game, the game character and the movie character, they didn't connect to me, right? They just weren't the same, in my opinion.
Yep.
But whatever, it happened. I mean, I just hope it doesn't happen again. And yes, that whole love interest thing, that part of it, that completely had no place in that movie whatsoever.
It didn't. I feel like if they were going for it, they should have just went for it.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like do it or don't.
Yeah.
Even hell, what movie did I just recently watch that was like a childhood one? Oh, The Rescuers Down Under.
Mm,
The straight to DVD sequel to The Rescuers. That one had that
yeah.
same thing where you had the suave Australian guide who's the
Yeah.
romantic challenger, for Bernard. They could have done that. They could have done that with Star Fox, and they didn't.
Yeah. I mean, all I have to say is I'm glad they didn't go there. I think, and this is my next hot take, and it kind of leads or kind of continues the my sort of side rant of Fox McCloud. But the more that I think about this Super Mario Galaxy movie, this is now setting up for a dumb movie in Smash Brothers.
It's setting up for a Smash movie. That's exactly what this felt like. It's setting up for a Smash movie. There's already rumors that Link is getting a movie, right? There's going to be a Legend of Zelda movie.
Yeah. Yep.
I would be absolutely shocked if Kirby didn't get a movie at some point. And then they're probably just gonna Avengers Assemble them or whatever. Avengers Doomsday, where they're all on Battle World.
I mean, I'm gonna be very honest with you. The day that they put out that Smash Brothers movie is coming out, I am going to be done watching any Nintendo films. Period. I don't care what comes out after that, because in my opinion, what is the point? What would be the point of a Smash Brothers movie? Like, the whole thing just makes me frustrated.
I mean, what if X fought Y is, always a fun media thing, that's been a comic book thing forever. What if Wolverine fought Hulk? But I don't know if that justifies a $1 billion movie. Alien versus Predator was a movie.
Okay.
By the strictest of definitions, Alien versus Predator was a movie.
Sure. And crossovers in a way can and cannot work. The thing that I'll say is Nintendo has been deliberate on them not having crossovers in their games
Sure.
with certain characters,
Yeah.
right? Mario and Fox McCloud never cross over. Metroid and Mario never cross over,
Oh,
right? Like
I didn't even think about Samus.
they are very, very deliberate, right, on certain things. Now, Pikmin and Mario have crossed paths, right? That has been a thing. So, like naturally, I thought Pikmin was fine, right? The fact is Pikmin were in it for like what, 5 seconds, 10 seconds.
And Pikmin feel like another, just like a shy guy, or you know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So I don't know. I think some of the choices that were made were strictly done for fanfare reasons. Now, what I want to transition
Most of
to,
them.
yeah, fair enough. What I do want to transition to is some of the high points that I appreciated about the quote unquote film.
There were some really cool things about this movie.
I think the way they told and put on screen the galaxy world, I think they did a really good job.
The casino scene. Do you remember the
Yes.
casino scene?
Yes.
That
Yes.
was really fun, where they kept like jumping all across, and gravity kept switching, and that was cool. That was cool.
That was really cool. And I think also some of the other elements that they did with like within space and showing, the different, like telling the story of Super Mario Galaxy, like the video game.
Yep.
And the mechanics of it. I think it was great. I think they did a really good job at that. Even though I didn't like the Fox McCloud thing, like I do think the way they incorporated him at least was tasteful for the character itself. So if at some point they decide to make a Star Fox movie, I think they have a good baseline of Star Fox and the aesthetic. So I think that is cool. And then I think
I was kind of sad they didn't have Bradley Cooper play Star Fox.
And then the last piece that I think I found really good was I'm glad they built around the Rosalina and Peach story, because most of the games don't really do that. And they kind of half-heartedly do that with the original Galaxy game. Like they do it, but like they never really build it. A lot of that is like in the lore of Mario mostly, right? So I'm glad that they did that, but I also feel like was too flash mobby when it came to kind of doing it. So even though I liked how they did it, I think they kind of, from a pacing standpoint, they just kind of rushed through it.
Very, very rushed.
Yeah.
Everything was surface level.
But I do like the fact that they built out the story a bit.
Yeah, sure, why not? I don't admittedly know a ton of the Mario lore. Like, I played the original Nintendo games 1, 2, and 3 a ton, and not much after that. Like, I touched the N64 one, but like didn't complete it, kind of thing. And I haven't really played any of the newer stuff.
So from your perspective, like what are some of the things that you liked about it?
Well, first of all, the animation was gorgeous.
Yes.
The kudos, hats off, whatever, to the animators. They did a phenomenal job. Beautiful. No notes. I really liked the occasional interjections of different art styles. Like when they did Star Fox telling his backstory, and it was like an anime thing. That was cool. That was fun. It broke up the monotony a little bit.
Yep.
So yeah, all the artists and all the visual design, loved it. I really liked the way they handled the space scene and the shifting gravitational perspectives that come along with it being a Mario Galaxy movie. That was fun. And those are the highlights, is just how beautiful it was.
Yeah, I would agree. I think the again, the breakup of the art style that you mentioned, as well as I think the the color palette of its entirety, to sort of draw contrast between Mario and the Bowser and Bowser Jr., side of things. I did find the Bowser storyline to kind of just drag entirely.
Why did Bowser need an arc? Why did Bowser need an arc?
I don't know. I really don't know.
He's a dragon. He's just a chaotic evil thing to punch in the face. That is all Bowser is. He didn't need to be for 5 minutes concerned about his son and then immediately turn around on any progression he had made as a character. You could have just said, "Oh, Bowser Jr. came to break him out. Castle's broken. He got let out of the cage, got hit on the head by a rock in the tumult, and now he's big again." That's all it had to be.
Yeah, I mean, it certainly dragged a bit. I do think though, like I did think about the first movie, the Bowser storyline did drag a bit there as well. So I think they kind of they they kind of just stuck to their formula what they did with Bowser previously, which whatever. I mean, it is what it is. It to me it was a little bit more fluff though than it was magic when it came to, seeing it on screen, if you will.
It also
Um,
felt like somebody told Jack Black he had to tone it down a little bit. Like there was a lot
yeah,
less energy from Bowser in this movie, to
there
the
was.
point where my wife actually said to me after the movie that it didn't even sound like Jack Black. It
Yeah.
was like an AI impersonation of Jack Black to her, and she was really put off by it.
Well, if you think about it, right, like 80% of his screen time he was small, right? So like he
Yeah,
had,
we're talking like this.
yeah, he'd be like almost like a Smurf, right?
Right.
Um, so it was, and I think Bowser was also a little bit more on played as an emotional character in this so-called film, right? So I think I felt like it just dragged along. But now that we're talking about Bowser, one other thing I forgot to mention about the art styles, I did like the switching of some of the platforming stuff to showcase like the original Mario game, like
Oh yeah. They
the
even did the browser on the bridge with the
yes,
axe.
yeah,
It
yeah,
was so cool.
and that
That was
and that's what
cool.
and that's what made me that like as we were talking about Bowser, it like popped in my head. I was like, oh, and that too. I got to mention that. That was really really cool. I was really glad that they did that, and I have to say they didn't do it a ton, which I think was perfect. Like I think it was a perfect
It was
amount. I guess
just
you can say.
enough. Just
Yeah,
enough.
yeah,
Can we talk about how the Mario 2 bosses were showcased and then dropped from the movie entirely?
yeah. And again, this goes back to I think the opening comment of this being a show reel. Like I agree. And the other thing too was not just the bosses, but like the desert side of it. A lot of people equated the desert with Mario Kart, but the desert was leading into the Mario 2 stuff, right? Like, and yes, they were on bikes, so they could have easily um it could have blended those two worlds, like Mario Kart and Mario 2, and that's fine, whatever. But like it was really cool to see in the moment, and then it was like, where do they go after that? And I was just like, oh man. Like I was very pleased to see that because I didn't think that they would incorporate Mario 2 within Mario Galaxy
Yeah,
because
it's
I
so
like,
tangential.
yeah, but I think the way they did it actually made a lot of sense, was very clever, and very intelligent in how they incorporated that, I guess is what I'm saying.
They could have done more with it. It felt like it was. You remember Spider-Man 3, where it was basically three different movies that the studio decided to mash together? That's kind of what this felt like to some degree. Because there was.
Yeah.
It's like they added a bunch of characters and none of them got to do anything. And halfway through the movie, they were all dropped. Even Yoshi, like, I forgot he existed until, like, the final battle.
Yeah.
Would have been funny to see Yoshi and Birdo duke it out. That would have been interesting.
I think the whole I think some of the elements that they phoned in were the Mario 2 incorporation, the incorporation of the Mario 2 characters. And I think Yoshi was also phoned in. I think Yoshi unfortunately was not a really played a good role within this with this film.
Yeah. I don't know what you have him do. Does Yoshi have Like, can he even talk in the games? Does he have a lot of dialogue?
No, not really.
So
And
there's only
that's
so much you can do.
correct, but like it would have been better if they would have incorporated like Yoshi's Island, right? And did the whole Yoshi's Island thing, and even if it was, for a brief bit, right?
Mhm.
Like the whole like Yoshi coming through the tunnel, like that story didn't connect with me because like to me that didn't make any sense.
I did kind of enjoy his ill-fated New York trip as his backstory, and him trying to explain it and nobody understanding what he's talking about. That was kind of funny. That was a
Right.
funny bit in isolation.
It was, but it didn't make any sense. It didn't match with the Yoshi story of
No.
how like where Yoshi came from, right?
No.
The other thing is like Yoshi then kind of, what I sort of felt Yoshi was another Jar Jar Binks.
Oh, no. Yeah, kind of.
Just thrown in there and kind of just didn't make a lot of sense of what they were doing in the film. I mean, I hate saying that, but that's just the way it felt to me.
I have to say, there was a couple of scenes where Luigi was interacting with the Star Babies, the Star Children.
Oh, yes.
And the only thing that my brain could think about is like Charlie Day from Always Sunny interacting with Little Bill, the cartoon character.
Oh, yeah.
And that was such a weird image in my head. I was laughing about that for a while. Charlie Day and Little Bill.
Oh, man. That's a very weird thing to have in your mind. Thank you, Michael.
Yeah. All right. Money.
So something that I found very interesting, so look this up before we started, and I wanted to compare financials between this and the other movie. Now, I heard a lot because there was a lot of different theaters that carried this film more so than the first one, right? And what I mean by that is, you have your IMAX now that carried this movie. You have these, other fancy ones with, your Dolby Studios, these other theaters and so on. Like the theater count, I felt like was going to be a lot, right? Comparative to the first one. But believe it or not, there is about 100 less theaters that carried this movie compared to the first one.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Why? Do we know why?
I don't. I'm not 100% sure why, but the original 4,343 theaters and that were in the opening, and for Super Mario Galaxy it was 4,252.
Interesting.
So there was a reduction in the amount of theaters, and it doesn't sound like a lot, right? But
No, but that's a lot though.
But that's a lot, right?
I wonder if they just didn't make their money back in certain areas. I don't know. Someone
Yeah.
at the very, very top knows the answer, and it ain't me.
Yeah.
But the first one I thought did pretty well. I'm surprised they reduced it. Maybe they realized it wasn't very good, so they didn't have faith in it.
So, and this is interesting. So, opening week, right, of the first movie. Now, and we'll say that it had the same amount of days, right, of opening weekend. So, quote unquote, it had the same amount of days, the first movie versus the second movie. So no variation from that. Okay.
Yep.
The first movie opening weekend was basically $146 million.
Okay.
The second movie, the second movie gross was $131 million. So almost $15 million off the pace of the first.
Okay.
So less theaters, so that could probably contribute to that.
If you count the fewer number of theaters, that 15 million delta kind of makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, so the question is, is it because of the, I mean, let's see here. What's the difference in numbers? 252 to 343, so roughly about 90-ish theaters. I don't know if that actually counts to 15 million. Math tells me in my head, and it doesn't.
Math tells me that accounts for a chunk of it, but not all of it.
Yeah, I would agree.
I know word of mouth on this movie is that it's fine. Not as good as the first one, but fine. So I imagine that bell curve is going to level off a little bit, and they're going to start seeing not as many returns over the next couple of weeks.
Yeah. So day one that has been reported. So Monday's reporting, it has already halved what it did on Sunday.
Oof.
So it went from 32 million and fell off the table at 16 million.
Big oof.
Now what I'll say is the first one went from 34 to 20. So it actually is about the same by a couple of million. And again, that couple of million now can be made up probably by the 90-ish so theaters that didn't carry it over opening. So
sure,
I think it's off the pace overall when it comes to overall numbers from a gross standpoint. But the trending of it so far looks the same. So I don't know, man. I'm gonna say this. I think this one is not even gonna come close. It's not even going to scratch the surface, the 1.3 billion that it made worldwide on the first one.
No. Do we do another prediction so that we can rewind?
Let's do it. All
right. First one was what? 1.3 billion?
1.36 billion, basically.
1.36 billion. I'm taking out my calculator. I am expecting about 35% below that mark for the second one. So 1.3 times 0.35. That's $450,000.
Are you? What?
Wait a minute. Hold on. No.
Are you?
1.3 times 0.65.
Michael is not a mathematician.
I have a minor in mathematics. Thank you very much. I'm just tired. So I'm guessing about $850 million this will return.
I am going to take this a step further and say that this is not going to go over 775 million.
We'll see.
It will not go over 775 million.
Tell us what you think in the comments.
How crazy would that be, right? Like this movie cost, let's see, what was the budget for this movie again?
I do not know that information. I think that's
it is 110 million.
All right. Okay, listen. Let's say this movie bombs, right? And only makes 700 million. It's still 7x'd its budget. That's a hell of a return.
It is, but that doesn't include marketing, right?
Oh, does it not include marketing?
No, that's just the production budget.
That's interesting because we have been arguing this whole time that this movie itself is effectively a marketing product. So yeah. I wonder how the bean counters are counting that behind the scenes.
The world will never know.
The world will never know. A 1, a 2, a 3.
Thanks for listening to our most recent episode of Uneducated Gamers. You can go to Galaxy Game TV to post comments on each of our episodes, or if you have a question or a topic you would like us to include in an episode, feel free to leave a comment. Until next week, we bid you farewell.